Greetings and salutations. I am Karen Rushmore, and this is a continuation of my playthrough of Pillars of Eternity. The last session I do believe was just a lot of paperwork. I finished off kind of going through the keep or castle of the Lord Riderick. Oh, that was it. I also went back and started doing... No, pretty much did the temple underneath the Gilded Veil, which turned out to be a little bit more darker, a little bit more cynical. It's kind of... I'm not entirely sure what kind of character I'm playing at the moment, just in terms of, you know, morality and the rest of it, because it's throwing choices at me that I'm not entirely sure what my flibbity flop reaction is going to be, per se, to a lot of these things. You know, when I was playing Pathfinder Kingmaker, it was very much go down the lawful good route as a rogue, and basically, you know, it gave you hints as to what was a lawful good choice, and most of the time it was also obvious. You know, it's like, is this legal, is this good? My camera is starting to play up again, which is rather annoying, given that I've already started dumbing down the settings on it. I need to potentially look into that at some point. So unfortunately, just bear with me and ignore the camera glitching out. It might be different when I'm actually playing the game, because it's a smaller camera. I don't think I have the resolution cranked up quite as high. Because, you know, take a big picture and squash it down, and then, you know, you lose most of the resolution, so why bother? I mean, there is a reason as to why bother. It's the anti-aliasing thing. It's what they actually do to improve the quality of video game graphics, is to like make the image far bigger than it needs to be, and then when it gets squished down, it doesn't look as pixelated, and the edges aren't as jagged than if you tried to render it at the resolution that it is going to be projected at. I don't know why that works. I've not looked at the math behind it, but I do know that it's one of the things that, you know, if you get an old enough game which can support it, NVIDIA experience will, you know, as part of its quality settings, crank it up higher than my monitor will actually render. Hey Saber, how's it going? But yes, so, right, don't need that running today. Radio, that's finished with, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go into performance mode, we're going to kill the background music, and then we're going to go into the game and click on continue. So, like I say, the last thing I did, so I found my fortress, or stronghold as I referred to it as. Went there, read through a lot of the options for building and improving the stronghold. Apparently, you know, these are divided up into turns, and I don't know how long a turn is per se. I'm guessing... See, turn 1, nothing to report. The 10th, and then it went to turn 2, but then it reported on the 12th. So it's not daily, as far as I can make out. Well, the Bright Hollow restoration is going to be finished in 4 hours, so it might actually be worthwhile heading back that way to invest some more into it. Although, can I actually do that from here? I could do. I could do that from here, so that's not a major problem. You must be in your stronghold to recruit or dismiss party members. Okay, so eventually when I get enough people, I can switch them out using the stronghold, but I have to go back to it. You're still on web camera mode. Okay, there we go. Not too bad, just got back from the shop. Q isn't too bad either. Was expecting 2K, but it was sub 1K. Fair enough. You should now be able to see the game, at least. Thank you for that, J-Station. Welcome in. So, we're going to hire a room here because some of us are a little bit messed up. And then the stronghold thing is likely to be ready for the in-room back in the stronghold. Bright Hollow restoration construction is complete. Woohoo. An attack was imminent, but your patrols staved off the enemy. We have patrols. I suppose we do have 2 security upgrades already. Right, so that requires the main keep. I think a lot of these things are going to start requiring the main keep or, you know, other parts of the, you know, the main keep seems important. Because the West Barbican the main keep is required for the West Barbican and the Bailey and the towers. And some of these require the Western Barbican, the main keep, the Bailey. It's nothing which requires the towers, but at the same token, I think the main keep is the next thing that I want to get done anyway. Right, we're all settled up here. Visit the Temple of Wodika is the next thing on the list. Explore the endless paths, that's part of the fortress. Find the runes beneath Sednua, that is part of the endless path, I believe. Lord of the Barren Lands, confront the Lord. I'm not going to do that without full thing. Spend time traveling with Durance, I can do that. Travel to the Record Archive, which is also in Defiance Bay with Wodika's temple, I believe. Yeah, Wodika in Defiance Bay. So, I think the next port of call is Defiance Bay. I'm Maddox. Maddox? Can't remember how I'm supposed to pronounce your name, so I'm just going to go with Maddox for now. Sorry if I'm wrong. Yeah, that's everybody. Just everybody's greeting everybody else. I came back here because I wanted to do the thing underneath the temple. I knew that that was still outstanding, and also I needed an inner room. It'll take me a day to get back to Sednua. Now that some of the stronghold upgrades are actually complete, let's actually go check them out. Let's see how incremental these quality changes are going to be. One of the things I do notice, or I kind of notice now, is it's definitively opened up the map even if we couldn't explore them. This building has now been restored, which is the Bright Hollow. The keep's still looking a little grotty. The Western Barbican, it's all nice, flush. See, this is the thing. That's the Eastern Barbican, and I've not built the Western Barbican. But that kind of looks like it's been restored anyway, so I don't know. But let's go in here and see what there is to see. Oh, we've patched up the stairs, that's what we've done. Survival skill is used to identify plants. Personal quarters. I'm guessing, yeah, I could use a bed. The window on the outer side of the curtain looks down at the tangled mess of overgrown hedges. So let's spruce the place up a little bit. That's what I'm looking for. Chests. And the thick woven wire weir will feel soft and warm. Guessing all of these things are going to be empty, yeah. Which kind of makes sense, you know, it's recently refurbished. I've not put anything in there, why would there be things lying around? The thick woven weir will feel soft and warm. More of the same, basically. Continue going around. Evil Genius 2 style unlock that high-tech stair technology. Well, in this case, it was more just it's like it's going to take a while to rebuild the stairs. It wasn't researching stairs, but yes, it does seem a little bit odd in places where it's like you can't get up here. The wilderness of Direwood rambles on beyond the house. So yeah, everything was empty, so that was pretty much a useless endeavor. No, they have a status effect if they need to sleep. They don't at the moment, so we're just gonna head back out. Love the way that from upstairs everything's nice and pretty, but they didn't bother doing anything down here. They've not even cleared out the cobwebs. It's just like, yep, we've patched up the stairs, made upstairs look pretty. You can now sleep here. Just don't go downstairs in the middle of the night. You never know what's gonna bite you. Be it rats or giant spiders. Bum, 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 bum. Oh yeah, it'll be good to see this place get restored a little bit. I'm just hoping that it becomes a little bit more populated, because, you know, one of the things it said in the report is like an attack was imminent, but your patrols staved off the enemy. And it's like, I don't know of what patrols they speak of, because I don't remember hiring anybody for this. No, I can't. Yeah, okay. I was just wondering if we could go out east anywhere, but I don't think that's possible, judging by the map. It will take 18 hours to complete your journey from Saidenua to Woodend Plains. Heal cowboy constructions won't do a lick of restoration outside of what they've been paid for. Yeah, that's true. Which kind of makes sense, you know. You don't actually want them touching things that you didn't pay them to touch. Another one of the Kickstarter graves, as it were. I always find it weird that that's a way that a lot of RPGs tend to oh, we got a forest lurker, whatever a forest lurker is. Hey. Are you on a bow? You're on a bow. Bring out the sword again. Hey. Oh, that's a big thing. You knock it on its ass.
Have to try something else.
That's what I do when these things happen. I summon Skellybobs.
Following your lead. Stand.
This thing's tough. Can you trip it over at all? Oh, oh, that worked.
How may I help?
Yeah, it's still stuck. More lightning.
Yes.
And that thing to maybe push it away
Not quite.
from the wizard who's stuck in place.
Leave it to me.
Come on, keep killing it. There we go.
Of course.
A little beaten up there, but not too much worse for wear. We've got awakened wood. Alright, let's just click on that. So we've got the Stormwall Gorge. Sounds like a fun place to visit. Do kind of wonder, because we can actually swap in. I can't see that at the moment. It says to swap in people. You can go back to the stronghold. Does kind of make me wonder how many people our NPCs are in the game. You know, it's one of them to a certain degree that I feel it makes sense after a fashion, but a lot of time it also feels a little bit there's, you know, when they put a lot of NPCs into a game that can join your party, it can feel a little bit overwhelming in terms of the numbers, especially if if they make them all far more interesting than you would like, because then you end up with things like having to play the game multiple times, because you want to know all the individual stories and you've got to spend time with them, and also to a certain degree, or it goes down the ridiculous route. In the game Neverwinter Nights, what it did for NPCs, you could hire somebody to accompany you, which was all fine and well. For the most part, but what they do is they give you a little token, and that denoted that you'd paid them once. But that was only your active henchmen continued from chapter to chapter. One of the things was each chapter, the henchmen had a unique item that they would give you, and it would improve as over the course of the game. Now, that's not too bad, but at the same token, one of the things I found to do was just hire all of the henchmen. Stick around with the one that you wanted to play the game with, and then just click through all the dialogue. When it came to the rest of them, towards the end of a chapter, and they'd done a very cookie-cooker campaign for that. So a lot of it meant you knew exactly when the end of a chapter was coming up, and you could, basically go around, rehire people. Talk to them because you were of the appropriate level. It wasn't based off how long you'd spent time with them, and gather up all the good things, which wasn't bad per se, but it just felt very artificial, and the same can be said and done. I've just realized I've got a magical helm in here. Does that do anything for you? It looks a little bit silly on you. I mean, to be fair, it's going to look a little bit silly on all of you, because it doesn't really fit in with the armor. And I'm not allowed to wear hats. And you can wear... Oh, does it actually give you a bonus? It does on concentration and defenses. Resolve and perception. Okay. What's concentration do? How likely a character's concentration determines how likely they are to have their spells or attacks interrupted in combat. Every point of resolve increases the character's concentration and is opposed by the attack's interrupt rating. Like attack rolls, interrupts are randomized rolls to determine if the interrupt is successful. If concentration is superior to interrupt rating, the interrupt is less likely to occur. Okay, you don't get interrupted much. It's giving us 1 point on the deflection, but you're already a 58 compared to some of these other people. What else is it affecting? Got a couple of points in reflex and a couple of points in will. See the concentration on the spellcaster, who also, this spellcaster, Eoleth, I'd like to get up in combat occasionally. So having the slightly better defenses and the concentration, less likely to waste spells on that. I'm going to put these books in there. I assume that I've read most of these things. The hood can go in there. Put that, oh no. You're the hat wearer. You wear the hat. Pry bar is a thing. Cloak of the Eothassan Priest. If you double click it, it unequips it or equips it, but it's also picking it up. So I'm putting it down and I'm picking it up, and occasionally it's registering that as a double click. See, the will is saying that it's 9, but you must have, okay, Ring of Minor Protection. So that's not really doing much for you. Is this going to give you the full 9? Yes, it does. Okay. Your will is up. Great stuff. Hey, Krifu, how's it going? Oh yeah, I was looking at other things. The Fine Pollux and the Fine Robe. Fine Robe do you any... I mean, it gives you slightly better DR. Recovery speed is the same, but you don't have Constitution burn proof. What about me? See, I don't like that recovery speed. Recovery is the amount of time that a character spends between actions. Longer actions require proportionally longer recovery. Armor has a large effect on recovery. Generally, heavy armor inflicts longer restoration penalties. See, I'm running around with just some clothing on at the moment, so I've not got any DR for damage reduction, but at the same token, I'm generally at the back, generally not getting into too much trouble. And that, to a certain degree, means that I don't need to worry about getting hit very often. But is it worth taking that 15% recovery time disadvantage just for the sake of the bit of DR? I'm going to say no for the moment, but at some point it might actually become relevant enough. Because one of the things that you can do is enchant these things. See, I could even enchant these clothing and get, you know, up to 8 damage reduction on the Direwoden clothing. Eventually, I mean, I require level 16, 10,000 copper pieces and some emerald and bog dragon scale. Yeah, and it's the thing is, it's that recovery time that I'm not sure if it's worth it. Being somebody who's at the back, you know, the damage reduction would be nice. Likely to survive a little bit longer, but I don't know. I need to pay attention to how much damage the enemies are doing. Damage the enemies are doing on occasion. Because, you know, if it's hitting you for 5 or 6, then 5 points of damage reduction is great. You don't have to worry about getting hit at all, to a certain degree. Because it's going to... That's not a good sign. Could you leave us alone? There's a reason why these people stand at the back. Scallybobs.
Following it.
How bad?
I need to check to see if there's class behavior. None is the characters A will not use any spells or abilities. That's fine. Enchanter emphasize offensive actions like a bunch of them, lots of complicated words, so I'm just going to skip over that. If these are not available, summons are prioritized over evocations. Okay. Okay, so I could put you on aggressive and aggressive.
Spot on.
But also then put you on... Oh no, it's right click for that summoner. Let's have you on here. No, let's put you on support. I want everybody on aggressive. It's just one of them where it's I'm finding it slightly annoying that I have to make sure that I'm clicking on attack the moment they finish doing something. Hold ground and aggressive. There we go. Okay. I'm also now QR. Don't do that. Accidentally moved him. Curious to see how well the game. See, both of these are set to do offensive things. But one of them's not actually, you know, I said summon allies, and we didn't summon allies. Oh, and then the fight's over. I'll keep an eye out on the AI. I might have to turn it back down to none if I need to make sure that they do exactly what I want them to do. It's just trying to take some of the management of them off of me because it's like setting them to self-defensive. Means that they won't attack if they encounter an enemy, but it also won't means that they won't attack even if there's an enemy in range and we're attacking them. Right, to the south doesn't have anywhere. It's fair enough. Oh, I didn't see that guy over there.
Leave it to me.
How are you doing for health? 320. Okay. I got camping supplies at least. See, again, I said summoner. But Rennie's Chanter prioritizes summons like, but Rennie's Derrent's Ghost. He would not rest, and if their bones still slept under that hill, none can say. If those are unavailable, support invocations are emphasized over aggressive invocations. It's telling me there that it's gone for thrice she was wronged and thrice she justly avenged, which is an aggressive. This is more of a support. This is a summon, and the AI is already annoying me. Go for aggressive. I didn't put them on aggressive. So if I put summoner aggressive,
Yes.
let's see what happens. And the thing is, that wasn't even close enough to do the thing, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to put them on nothing before I get really annoyed.
Have to try something else.
I guess maybe summoning those skelly bobs that I would like you to summon. You gonna do anything? You're not gonna do anything. Summon the skellies. That's why I'm glad that's why I'm so glad to have turn-based combats for Wrath of the Righteous. Fights take longer for sure, but you have that fine control. Yeah, it's one of the reasons when I first started streaming, the reason that Pathfinder Kingmaker kind of took priority over a lot of other games that I could have played was the fact that they just introduced the turn-based combat to Kingmaker after it was released, and it's too frantic, I feel, Pathfinder, to be played out in real time. And this game is a little bit of the same. It's a little bit too frantic for my liking, but it doesn't have a turn-based option. But at the same token, I don't feel that it requires the fine adjustments and control that you need in Pathfinder. You know, one of the things is it's all like knowing how fast you can move and whether it's worthwhile, and being able to figure out whether it's worthwhile. Oh, that's... I was expecting one troll, not 3, 4. I have no idea what our Pawagana is. Pawagra. Alright, just wait for one more chant and then we'll have some support. Let's have some skellies over there and some skellies over there. Right, murder. 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 Why? Oh, shoot. Why are you getting injured? Oh, you're getting mullered. Run away. Oh, you died. I can't remember the last time I saved. This game is rough, yo. I do need to also at some point find if there is options for raise dead or the like.
Of course.
Oh no, I've not even gone up here yet. Ugh. But yeah, I do kind of prefer the whole turn-based thing, although, you know, if you watched my... I'd not sorted this out either. You go there, you go there, you... No. That goes in there, that goes in there, that goes in there, that goes in there. That goes to this guy. That goes in there. That goes in there. This goes there. Okay, that's... I think that's everything I did on that front. Let's save it again. Let's click on this so we can see... Oh no, that was done further north. Right. Just make me wonder how much I can just kite these people.
Spot on.
Come on. Bit too close.
Spot on.
Skeletons. Skeletons.
Row at 10.
Back up.
Where they still must meet.
These ones are in for a walloping.
Get out your bow. Take pot shots at it.
Some reminder.
This thing isn't doing the job.
I know it's not doing the job, but it's eventually getting there. Right, we need skeletons again.
Row at 10.
This is the problem I've got without the AI being turned on to a certain degree. Or being on the defensive. It's very much Dubra what's it, flibbity flob.
I shall deal with this one.
Nobody reacts until I tell them how to react.
I have them.
I shall.
Which isn't terrible, but at the same token, a little bit annoying. Alright. And I went round this way. We'll save it, because I'm pretty sure that was the last one that we killed. Oh, there's another one over here.
Leave it to me.
Everybody shoot at it. Seems to be coming for you. Run away! Oh, no, it changed targets. You shoot it. Move.
Here's a lesson to be taught.
And now it's your turn to run around.
Try something else.
Now it's your turn to be running around. Now it's your turn to be running around. Oh, you got stuck. Okay, bring in the sport skeletons. Hey, that's me! Ah!
Hey,
Bring in the support skeletons!
Your tail ends here.
Where they still must meet.
This is going to make combat slightly easier, although slightly also more long-winded.
Blackbone's fair fist.
End.
Stand. Still.
Try something else.
Keeps telling me when human skeletons leave a party, and it's one of them where it's like, did you really need to pause for that? And voila.
hey.
No one taken out without any damage to us. Alright. Let's skirt along the bottom. Still nothing. It's just feels weird to me that it's like you get to the bottom of the map, and I know that it occasionally it looks weird where it's like line of trees. Something that they did in Baldur's Gate, so impenetrable that you couldn't get past them, and it's like, really? You can't just take out a machete and carve a path through the undergrowth? Apparently not. But at least it gave you some kind of excuse why you couldn't go any further in that direction, you know, south in this case. This one, it just like, yeah, you just can't get any further south. But what's out there? Why aren't you letting me go that way? Well, this place looks fun. Oh, missed that, whatever that is. The sparrow's nest is tucked between two angled slats. Little farmstead. The Powagra.
Where they still must.
Okay, maybe we need you on the blade for this one.
Try something else.
That seems to be a little bit faster.
This. This.
I have no idea what that thing is. Registers are primordial. We'll take a look at the beastry after this. Let's have some scaly bobs for support.
Yes. Not quite.
That's not
Everybody wail on it.
Still must meet.
Leave it to me.
Oh, that's a small rain blight.
Don't even. Yeah.
Oh, it's an awakened wood as well from that thing. No, wrong button. J for journal. Cyclopedia. Bestiary. No, doesn't come under spore or troll. It's not a ghoul, a spider, skeleton, a shadow, a rain blight, black oozes, forest looker, no. Ah! Delimgan. Delimgan are forest spirits of the era Gwenfathen that are bound to ancient, often petrified trees or Adra monuments. They appear to have mostly elven-shaped bodies, but their skin is made of wood and their hair is long and plant-like. Aragrans appear to have a skin made of Adra. Delimgans glow slightly and often have tiny motes of light around them. They do not wear clothes, but lack sexual organs, as they only have an overall shape of humanoids. Delimgran are entirely magical beings and do not use physical weapons to attack. Their attractiveness is used in tandem with their magic, typically to stop attackers or lure them to their deaths. Oh, it's a dryad, basically. Of sorts. And these creatures draw their essence from their environments. While they have physical bodies and can be killed if only those bodies are destroyed, their survival also depends on the health of their environment. They feel no natural animosity towards other beings, but they will defend their territories fiercely. Thus, Delimgan and Adrabon may individually be more or less hostile depending on the well-being of their locale, and on whether other explorers or adventurers have, in the past, proven dangerous or benign. They are a natural roadblock to large-scale development, while rural tribes of the Irglafen often live peacefully along them. Expanding or developing cities and towns may find themselves beset by a hostile Delagram. Some Kith, too, oppose the destruction of the Delagram habitats. City dwellers generally support the notion, believing that their souls will simply reincarnate into other forests or back into Kith. Delagram are traditionally friendly towards rangers and druids. Their spiritual link with trees has led to greater understanding of the link between rangers and their animal companions, though a definitive connection has yet to be made. The Delim Puagra, a rotten leaf, or typically called Puagra, rotten, is a delagram that has been corrupted by the destruction of their home tree or Adrastone. They are as ugly as a delagram are beautiful, spindly and emancipated, with cool tones to their skin. Their hair is dead, dark, and slimy, their facial features contorted. They have teeth long and sharp, unlike Delimgran. They are not surrounded by motes of light, and they are more than willing to attack unfortunate travelers with their long talons. Puagran decorate themselves with skulls, skins, and feathers of animals they've killed. Just as Delimgran seek to maintain the health of their forests, Puagran seek to corrupt them, making the two species mortal enemies. The rot that infects them endows their attacks with the ghastly poison. It also makes their bodies weak and brittle, leaving them vulnerable to piercing and crushing attacks. Since they can no longer draw on the essence from a healthy forest, they must survive by drawing energy and essence out of the plants, animals, and kith. This makes them natural allies with shadows, which feed by similar means and enjoy the benefits of a shared hunt. They are hostile towards all life, but rangers and druids are their most common foes. So, bad dryads. So, there is a path up this way. Go around this way. and save. Wine dregs swirl around the bottom of this clay jar. Battle axe, some coins. Scroll of lightning and some coppers. I'm terrible for using scrolls. Does that stack? That does stack. I don't think I can learn from these scrolls.
Hey.
How are we doing on the level ups anyway? Oh, we're close. One of the things that I'm thinking is when to go back to Raedric's Keep and take care of him. I was hoping for a party of 6 by the point that I do that. That's something that I was discussing earlier. So like the party size and NPCs that you can recruit. You know, it's one of them where it's I felt in Pathfinder Kingmaker some of the NPCs arrived too late into the game, where it was like very complicated to try to learn how to make best use of them. Because Pathfinder has a lot of abilities.
Hey.
That okay, run away, run away, run away, run away. And shoot. Nope, just shoot, people. It's not difficult. Would help you click the right button, Paul. Right, we now can summon Scallybobs. Let's summon the Scallybobs.
Yes.
Put them between us. And everybody start attacking that thing. You two, grab that one.
You're not
Can
getting
you
to me.
go attack that one?
Hey.
My skeletons are getting ripped apart. There we go. Summon more Scallybobs. Just want to take out one. There we go. Trolls down. Pagra. You guys attacking that. You guys attacking that.
Okay.
There we go. This thing is decimating my skeletons. No, 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 no. Who said you could come towards us? There we go. Okay. More skeletons. In a lot of ways, the Owlcat Pathfinder games feel designed for those who already know how to play Pathfinder First Edition. Yeah, I feel that that was one of the cases a little bit with Pathfinder Kingmaker. Wibble, my cat, Wibble indeed. You know, and to a certain degree they were, and at the same token, you know, going into it and not really knowing Pathfinder First Edition, I knew a little bit about it, but not a tremendous amount. I was able to get by on guesswork from what I had knowledge of when it came to Neverwinter Nights and, you know, other 3rd edition games. And to a certain degree what surface knowledge that I managed to glean from podcasts and the like. So to a certain degree it was like, yeah, and also, you know, it has a variety of difficulty levels. I played it on the standard, I believe for the most part, right up until the end, where it really showed I'd not maximized the party. A lot of the rest of the stuff that I'd dealt with up until that point was very much, you know, sort of like just brute force pig ignorance and a little bit of luck.
That's it.
I want the musketman to reload. Oh, there we go. Skellybob time. Skellybob time.
Yes.
Everybody attack this troll. Now the other one's slightly more injured, but that one was a closer one. Yeah, man. But yeah, back to NPCs, you know, one of the problems with Pathfinder Kingmaker was the fact that, you know, I'm trying to remember the latest that you actually find an NPC, but I'm pretty sure there was some that you were meeting on sort of like level 6 or 7, might even been as late as like level 10 for some of them, and by that point, you know, they've got 10 levels of abilities for you to sort of like try to learn on the spot, unless they just so happen to be a class that you were already familiar with. And you know, I'm part of some Facebook groups and some Discord groups which discuss, you know, so like Pathfinder Kingmaker and the tactics that people were using and the builds that they were using. And it's like, okay, you want 3 levels of this class, 3 levels of this class, and then put all the rest of them into this class. And that will give you a magic spellcasting fighter who can really go to town on people, and the numbers that they were quoting as to how much damage that they could do with some of these characters was just unreal in my humble opinion. You know, I just saw a Facebook post. This was for Wrath of the Righteous, so I didn't really look too deeply into it, but it was just basically the damage breakdown, and it was something like 400 points of damage in a single attack. And it's like, that's fair enough, but
We'll just wait a little longer.
That's not something that I really want to be playing a game to do to a certain degree. You know, I don't mind big numbers go boom. But at the same token, having to have that much knowledge of the game where, you know, on average, you know, I think I managed to get into the 3 digits, like 100 points of damage on a crit with a rogue who managed to get off their sneak attack, and I definitely had to lower the difficulty at some points during Kingmaker, but I haven't had to do that yet in Wrath, which is fair enough. And they might have balanced it a little better. There was points in Kingmaker where I didn't feel that it was correctly balanced. The turn-based combat does indeed help. You know, the first couple of times that I played it off stream, I tried it in real time, and the only way that I could survive more than 1 or 2 combats in real time was to knock the difficulty of the game down to story mode, which essentially just made everybody invincible and therefore wasn't challenging enough to be interesting. But anyway, there's a traveller on the road. That usually means NPC companion. A dwarven woman dressed in skins and hides leans against the road marker. Her face is downturned, her eyes darkened by a thick stripe of face paint. She's sharpening a bone-head arrowhead with a scrimshaw-handled knife. Her attention, however, is focused on a bare figurine between her feet. A large white-furred fox standing at her heels looks up as you approach.
Easy, Itumak. It's not him.
This outfit may not be flattering, but I'm definitely not him. She lifts her head and looks at you. No argument there, it's just, not you I'm looking for. Who are you waiting for?
Short version? I'm looking for a very, very old friend. I'm not sure what skin he's wearing now, but I'll know him when I see him.
You don't know what skin he's wearing? So with Kingmaker, just as a final thing, when they introduced turn-based, I was able to get a grip to it so I could play most of it on average, but I still dumbed it down. Not dumbed it down. I turned the difficulty down for some fights because it's just that I don't want to have to backtrack out of here to go level up to come back, so I'm just tweak the difficulty down, kill them, and then continue with the plot. Your friend is supposed to meet you here?
That's what I heard. Of course, the man who told me so was carrying a staff he claimed was made from dragon bone, but I know whitewood when I see it. That should have been my first clue, but I had to try something.
And back up, what does this stranger have to do with your friend?
The long version. Here we go. I'm from an island to the far south called Nasitok. I came here looking for a village elder, a man we knew as Persok. I'm a hunter back home, so tracking someone wouldn't normally be a problem. But Persok's trail is cold, to say the least.
Why can't you find him? There can't be that many of your people in the Direwood. He died when I was still a young girl. I forgot to mention that part, did I? I'm looking for his latest reincarnation. Could be anyone. Okay. Apologies, missed time my entry into chat late as the kettle boiled, so dashed off to make a cuppa. How's everybody doing today? Almost done with work day, and you're an hour ahead of us. Jeez, Krifu, take a break. I'm doing okay, my cat. A bit tired and grumpy around the edges, but hey ho. What can you do? How long have you been looking for I forgot how they pronounce the name. A painted brow lowers, and her compact muscular frame sags for just an instant. 5 years. So you've been searching 5 years for a stranger you barely remember, who could be anyone new.
That about sums it up.
Then it must be an important duty?
So I keep reminding myself. Still, it would be nice if important duties came with clearer instructions.
Tell me about it. I have no idea what I'm doing. She looks at an Adra figure in the dirt. How does that statuette figure into it? She dusts the figurine on her trousers and raises it in her small, flat palm. It's carved in the shape of the bear, smooth and round. The polished Adra is worn to a dull mat along its arched back and ovoid haunches. A soft glow emanates from within.
Cute, isn't it? It belonged to Persok. Before he returned to the wheel, he left a splinter of his soul in it. Something to help us find him later.
As she holds it out to you, you feel wisps of sensation. Not quite memories, but traces of someone.
When I left Nasitok, it was completely dark inside. But as I've gotten closer to Persok, it's glowed steadily brighter. Since I've reached the Deerwood, however, it's gotten hard to read. Some days it flickers and goes dark. Others it shines nice and bright. For a few hours. But most of the time, it looks just like this.
Could I take a look at it?
I've heard that one before. Whole reason I'm standing here is because some so-called watcher from Forked Vale told me he could take a look. For a few golden dukes, of course. I was on my way out of the Balmarsh when I heard talk of a traveling mystic who could supposedly see souls. I knew it was a long shot, but what did I have to lose? I went to see this fellow and gave him the Audra figurine. He made a big show of moaning and rolling his eyes, and after I'd given him 5 golden dukes to lift the shroud, he told me to seek the crossroads in the field between the wolf's lair and the twining trees.
Go on.
He thought he was being vague, but I know the area well enough to recognize that he meant this place, right between Defiance Bay and Twin Elms. I had a bad taste in my mouth, but my coin was spent and I'd already left an arrow in his knapsack as a friendly warning. Told him I'd come back and leave him with another if it turned out he was giving me the runaround. I've been here a week now. Guess he had the last laugh after all.
May I see the figurine?
Why?
I'm a real watcher.
You expect me to believe that? After the story I just told you?
What if I'm telling the truth? After 5 years, it's worth taking the chance.
Fine. But if you try to run, just remember that my arrows are faster.
I like this person. She hands you the figurine. Her chapped knuckles graze your hand. She watches you examine it, wary but curious. You raise the Adra bear, turning it in the light. Your eyes catch the tiny glinting scratch. The scenery around you melts away. You're standing on the cliffs overlooking the water, seeing through eyes that aren't your own. You catch the musk of beasts amid the fresh scent of vegetation, and your heart beats a little faster. You'll have to watch your step up here. You look down just long enough to see a sharp, pale cliff drop. You look down just long enough to see the sharp, pale cliffs drop down into the water hundreds of feet below you. Sniff the breeze. Breathing deeply, you smell the salt in the air. Wherever you're standing, wherever Perswald is standing, maybe near the ocean, not a lake. I've got it. He's standing on a cliff.
What are you talking about? What just happened?
I told you, I'm a watcher. She blinks at you a few times, calculating. I know this sounds strange, but it's the truth.
You realize I've got no coin to give you, even if I did believe you.
Come with me. I've got other business in the area, and we can look for the squad on the way.
And if this is your idea of a joke, you may be stuck with me for a while. Lead the way.
Sagani looks at you, her arms folded across her chest. She tucks a figurine into her pouch. Her fox stands, shaking its pale coat. I got a companion.
I'm here.
Another one.
I'm here.
Who's apparently good with the bow, I guess. Dwarven Ranger. Again, this is one of them where it's like they're level 4. So just trying to get a quick read on what they've got. They've got a faithful companion, plus 30 defense around against dominated charmed confusion attacks, -5 seconds dominated charms confusion duration, fine hard armor for damage reduction, hunter's instinct plus 15 accuracy against wilder, plus 15 accuracy against primordials, be useful around here. The abilities are hunter's instinct, which gives us a passive plus 15. Oh, that's the ability just there. Marked prey. Designate a single target as prey, giving the ranger an animal companion a damage bonus against the target, plus 20% damage against marked targets, once per encounter for 34.5 seconds. Second wind, get some endurance back. Arctic fox companion, summons Itamuk. And wounding shot. And twice per encounter, if successful, hobbled for 11.5 seconds, and deals a basic attack damage plus 100% damage inflicted over 6 seconds. not bad. Weapon focus peasant, hatchet, spear, quarterstaff, hunting bow, and unarmed. Faithful companion, which gives you the charm bonuses, and agile retreat, a plus 12 defense when disengaging. Well, I think she's pretty dope. I just like her attitude. No idea how that's going to go down for me, but you know, it's usually a bad idea to a certain degree. I find in TTRPGs to just take on companions just because they've got a nice attitude. It's usually because they're going to stab you in the back at some point. But still, we got another 2 people join the group. We got a fox as well, although I don't think I can get stats on the fox. All I know is it's got endurance of 65, which isn't great. Aggressive on that, and save.
Hey.
Alright. I do like the way that they've dropped them into this area where you're mainly fighting primordials and wilders. Oh, apart from this lion, which is a beast apparently. Here's a sword and board. That lion is rough.
All right then.
Oh, another lion. Another 3 lions. This might be painful.
How bad?
The moment I said, oh yeah, great, she's good against primordials and the other thing that I mentioned, and then it's straight up, yeah, you're not finding those anymore. Wilders, that was it. Not entirely sure what somebody said, but it sounded like twat. This is an immature stream, so we can get away with saying things like that. I'm pretty sure this stream still has a mature rating on it. I've not changed it.
Of course.
Hey, we got some level ups. Lion hides. Oh, one of them was a lioness. Big whoop-de-doo difference. Can I move that to there? Put it into that and then I can do that. Okay, great stuff. Blog, laptop crash. Ouch. Who got the level ups? I got a level up. Woo! Alright, focusing on the mechanics because nobody else is doing that. Oh, 2nd level? Oh, these are phrases. Okay. Lo, their endless host and the harbingers of doom generates a field of terror, frightening enemies in the area for the duration of the effect. Frightening enemies in the area of effect, even. Once doesn't stood against the power of the saint. Decreases the duration of and defends against frightened and terrified effects on allies in the area of effect. Rime and frost followed the footfalls of Karth. Allies leave hazardous trail of frost whenever they move, hobbling enemies and causing freezing damage to enemies. That could be interesting for the kiting maneuvers that I've been pulling recently. Sure-handed, Illa knocked her arrows with speed. Decreases reload time and increases the speed of ranged attacks for all allies. Again, potentially useful for the kiting. The fox and the farmer did run and leap. The fox from the farmer did run and leap. Reduces accuracy of disengagement attacks for the enemies in the area of effect. Okay, that's not so great. I only get to choose one of these, which is a bit annoying because I'd like to pick those two. Because one of the things is, I've found that kiting in this is great. And having it so that as I'm kiting them, they're taking frost damage and getting slowed down. Great stuff. And this, where it increases the reload speed and attack speed of everybody, which is everybody when I'm kiting, also potentially useful. I'm going to go with that because it also helps with the stationary combat. That's it. That's all I got for level 5. Not bad, not bad. And the other level up is Editor. Let's put a point into athletics and spend all your points on that. It's not much of a thing. And fighter abilities. So vigorous defense. The fighter becomes fiercely determined to deflect all incoming blows, dramatically increasing defenses for a short period. Once per encounter, speed is instantaneous, and the effects is plus 20 to all defenses for 15 seconds. Not bad. Not gonna take a weapon specialization. Not sure if they've already got one. Should probably check that. Confident aim steadies a fighter's arm, causing a percentage of the grazes to be converted to hits and increases the minimum damage of the melee weapons. That could be useful. Disciplined Barrage. The fighter intensely focuses on his or her training, significantly raising the accuracy for a short amount of time. Plus 20 accuracy for 15 seconds, once per encounter. And the Guardian stance. The fighter devotes all of his or her energy in defending allies. Lowers the accuracy but increases deflection of all nearby allies. So basically, it just gives me a bit of a trade-off between accuracy and hitting. And into the fray, the fighter lunges through the battle, pulling an enemy into an immediate melee range, causing piercing damage and leaving them dazed. I'm gonna go with the discipline. No. The confident aim. It's passive ability. I like passive abilities. It's one of them things about me. It's I don't like my games when they're too actiony and there's not enough to do, but at the same token, I just love having people where I don't have to do much with them. You know, a fighter with half a dozen passive abilities so that they're just useful without me having to do much is far better than having a fighter with 20 abilities, all of which are useful in certain circumstances, but trying to figure out which is the right one for each circumstance. Nah. Just 20% of the grazes go to hits, minimum damage increased by 20%. Can't go wrong with that one.
All right then.
Waves are roughly chiseled into the stone. They grasp at Andra's beloved moon, curling fingers. Earth Harvest, unique hatchet, one-handed. Deflection is up, burn damage is up, DR bypass is up. This hunting hatchet is leather-wrapped wooden handle and a silvered blade covered in finely etched flames. When the blade is coated in the blood of prey or an opponent, the etchings glow a fiery gold, roaring to life. Even at rest, the hatchet smells faintly of smoke and charred flesh. Sounds delightful. Do you have a weapon specialization? That is the first question that I've got to ask. Where is weapon specialization listed? It's right at the bottom under talents. Okay, great stuff. Talents. You do not. Okay, great stuff. So switching you over to this isn't going to make you cry about anything. Alright, I'm going to have to compare. So the hatchet speed is fast, its interrupt is weak. Its damage is lower, but its speed is higher. The saber has plus 20% damage, and it's damaging one which is a plus 15% damage. Whereas this also has burn damage, bypasses DR. So a hit of 14 on that is going to be a hit of 13 on this, 11 on this. So the 15, if you max it out, it's going to be a 15. I don't know if the burn damage is included in this, or whether it's burn damage on top of. But even so, this has got, 35% on top of. I wonder if I can enchant this with some kind of quality. See, I could give it the fine characteristics, which gives me 4 accuracy and 15 damage, which is... That's just got damaging. So that kind of narrows up the thing a bit, because this damaging one I can add on to this. Alright, I'm finally finished my work, so I'm ready to go into the office tomorrow. Nicely done. But plus as well, even though it is lesser damage, it still has the benefit of attacking faster. The thing is, it just says fast. It doesn't say, attacks twice a round being 6 seconds, or 3 times a round, or once a round, or anything. It just says, it's fast. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for this. If I give it a fine enchantment, boom, and then switch it out for this. It's got comparably the same damage at the base, but it's got the 15 fire, it's got the bypassing the DR. It's got a bonus to the accuracy, and it hits faster, so it should give me a bit of a boon. Which kind of reminds me, what sort of my... Oh, I've got a stiletto. Is that one of the weapons that I can never remember? Saber, stiletto, club, pistol, and blunderbuss. Okay, so maybe I should switch out that. Oh, no. Can't remember how I'm supposed to unlock these other weapon sets. I think it's got something to do with survival. Now I'm gonna go to the grocery store and buy myself some ice cream and chips as a... Now I'm gonna go to the store and buy myself some ice cream and chips as a treat. You go for it, Creeper. You go for that ice cream and chips. Oh, that reminds me, I've got yogurt in the fridge. I really do like yogurt. Righty. Well, that was an upgrade for everybody. Let's pick up spring berries. Have I touched this edge? I think I've touched this edge, but let's touch it again. Oh, no. Gotta remember that WASD doesn't work on this. I always find that the scroll speed is either too slow and I don't like it, or too fast and I don't like it. I can never get it that happy medium. But I do like it when games have, a nice slow scroll when you're just mousing around the area. Jalen DeMathe. Stealing... Oh no. Can't steal your camping supplies. Tucked under the flap of this bedroll is a relic of some kind. A small conch shell strung with seaweed. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. Reach out to the soul. You see a group of robed figures next to the fire. This woman, much younger and smaller, sits with them. They are discussing travel and making plans, deciding which road will get them to their destination fastest. A rustling noise catches the attention of several members of the group, and they stand watching over the fire, straining against the darkness to see. An enormous shadowy figure makes its way into the camp, and the darkness slowly parts against the firelight to reveal who it is. Many of the members of the group stand readying weapons. Others quietly invoke their gods, preparing spells for battle. The girl looks around, confused, when the man sitting next to her stands, holding out his arms. He chastises the others in the group for not showing proper hospitality to a stranger. The man walks towards the ogre, hand extended, speaking words of welcome in its own tongue. The ogre stares at the man for a brief moment. Then, with a swiftness seemingly unnatural for a being of its size, it swings the club down. It's been dragging behind itself. It connects with the man's head, causing a wet, crushing sound. The woman to the girl's right screams and rushes to the man's side, covering half the distance before the man has even fallen to the ground. From the darkness all around the group, terrifying and blood-curdling shouts answer the screams of those in the camp as more figures approach through the darkness. Odd that there's sort of like people that are around, and I can never tell whether they're supposed to be sort of like ethereal or whether they're actually there, but it's like, I'm reaching into your soul and saw terrifying things. I'm not going to speak to you. It's not terrifying things about them, it's the terrifying things about their past, but still not going to speak to them about it, apparently. Although to a certain degree, with the whole soul recycling that goes on around these parts, wouldn't surprise me if people aren't too fussed about. That's interesting. I do wish more games had an export button. For when you finish the game, you click on export and it sort of like tells you a little bit about your game, and especially if it's compared to others. There's one game that does that, and I can't remember what it's called right now. Magcat gifted it to me years ago. And you're breaking into places and stealing things, I think, is a general narrative. And so you get to make certain choices as you progress the game. And it's interesting because once you've finished it, you click a button and it goes off to the internet and it tells you about what you did, what everybody else did, and how everything compares, as it were. I've just realised I might have been able to go south of the Black Meadow to Madmer Bridge. It wasn't Thief. It was pixel art based, side scroller 2D, a little bit of a platform game, but not. That wasn't the intention of the game. But yeah, I could have gone Black Meadow to Marlborough Bridge and then into Defiance Bay. Instead, I came all the way around through Sadenov, the Woodland Plains, and then over the bridge. It will take you 4 hours to complete your journey from the Woodend Plains to Aedawan Bridge. Prepare everybody, we're going into a city. This usually means a lot of talking, he says as he looks at the map, and it's quite literally just a bridge. There's the fourth stronghold coming along. It's currently under construction. Finished in 21 hours, so tomorrow. Give or take. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a bridge being tossed about in a storm-ravaged sea. The swells rise and fall, carrying the ship with them as if it were a toy. This man stands on deck at the helm of the ship, while water whips around him. The crew moves about frantically, trying to keep the chaos under control. He barks orders at them, pointing where to go and giving each one a task. The men, while still visibly distressed, seem to calm down when they are given their orders. He instructs the helmsman to resume his duties at the wheel and rushes to the aid of a crewman who is struggling with a rope attached to one of the sails. The ship crests a wave, going almost vertically in one direction and then immediately again in the other direction. Several of the crew are thrown from their feet, sliding across decks as the ship rocks. After the swell passes, the ship returns to a relatively normal orientation. The man quickly scans the deck, counting silently. No one has been lost this time, thankfully. He looks in the direction of they're headed, seeing no reprieve from the storm in sight. His jaw squared, his upper lip stiffened. He returns to the helm and takes the wheel again. Stop moving. Oh, you're just a commoner. You need an inn for the night, and the Goose and Fox has the softest beds and the best ale. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. You see a lavishly decorated room, walls hung with tapestries, ornate oil lamps creating a warm, relaxing atmosphere. There are several overstuffed couches covered with silk pillows and an elegant table in the middle of the floor. This woman is seated at the table, sitting across from another woman. They are both well dressed, their style befitting the room they're in. The other woman's hair is blonde, in stark contrast to this woman's black, and is swept up on her head in a dramatic style. The woman speaks in an easy, free tone, obviously familiar with one another. Though they each seem to be comfortable in the other's company, a strange nervousness surrounds the blonde woman's actions. She occasionally betrays herself with a little giggle or stammer, hitching over an easy word as she speaks. Her demeanor swings from friendly to shy and back again with no warning. This woman leans back a little in her chair, stretching lightly. As she finishes her stretch, she gently lays her hand next to the woman's hand, letting their fingers subtly intertwine. The second woman stops speaking mid-sentence, inhales sharply and turns red. She does not, however, move her hand. This woman smiles and moves her hand further over the other, holding it. She then stands, moving around the table towards the blonde woman, whose face shows conflicting emotions of terror and lust. She giggles and pulls her hand out from the other and brings it to her mouth, the red of her face deepening. This woman stops, looks down at her, eyes sparkling. She reaches out and pulls something from the blonde's hair, letting it fall around her shoulders. Then she leans over, brushing her lips lightly over the blonde woman's cheeks, resting her mouth against her ear. As she whispers, her hands move lightly down the woman's body to her waist. The blonde shudders and leans into the hand, eyes closed, cheeks pressing against the lips, still whispering in her ear. The woman's hand deftly removes a small bag from the other woman's waist and secretes it under her own cloak of a small leather bag. Then she gently kisses the other woman's cheek and stands again, the smile never leaving her mouth. I'm so glad that didn't get even more raunchy. That would have just been awkward to have to stop halfway through speaking and be like, I'm not going to vocalize that. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. I wonder who was in charge of writing all of these. And I'm trying to get a sense of why. It's helping setting the scene a little bit in some of them, where it's like historical events. But is it doing anything for the overall narrative of the game? And you know, there's some like that one just passed. It basically told us nothing. Interesting read, but told us nothing. So was it worth reading for the game's sake? Who knows? You see a flurry of matted white hair and incandescent freeze-fire staff before you see the man, cold and wild. You choose a wizened apple slowly, discharging a spell after spell into a jumble of villagers screeching their way towards him. Cold flame vents from his nose and the apple seeds shoot out of the side of his mouth as he saunters forward, ignoring arrows and curses alike. With a deliberate twist of his staff, and a bullet of force glides through the torso of one of the assailants, and another. A roar blisters at his throat as he launches himself into their midst, tearing into their essence with his staff. A pleading hand reaches towards him, and quickly falls, ignored. Silence takes hold as the tattered man gathers his prize. A basket of fresh pears. He hums as he eats. So, just wiped out an entire village for the sake of a basket of pears. Welcome to Defiance Bay, but watch yourself in our city, you understand? I don't actually know what to make of Defiance Bay at the moment. I've never been before, and I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a hive of scum and villainy, or whether it's supposed to be sort of like some metropolis, or a utopia, or I don't know what they're trying to go for just yet. A Justicar of Forgant.
Welcome.
What can I do for you? You can tell me about Defiance Bay. What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? Sorry, but I don't have time right now. But it sounds like that dozens crackpot Rowans. But it what? But it sounds like that dozens crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. He jerks his head at the gate. He'll be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city, liberally favoured with dozens propaganda, of course. Okay, dozens is a faction, I'm guessing. I'm looking for the Temple of Wodika. He scratches his beard. Not sure why you go there. He shrugs. It's the first. It's in the first fires if you really want to see it. You seem to be on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees coming in from all parts. Under some misguided notion that things are actually better here. That the legacy somehow passed us over. And they show up with no prospects and a little money and just end up making a worse mess of things. He looks you up and down. No offense. Goodbye. He grunts. And good luck to you. Do you have anything else? An expedition out of Amneth's den is just an organised grave robbery. Okay. Well, this sounds like a wonderful place to be. It will take you 15 minutes.
Defiance Bay, the city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution, now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by Whiteone's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to ennomancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
End of Act 1, apparently. Oh, somebody leveled up. For going through an archway. I'm guessing it's more for arriving in the city. Ooh, level 3 spells. Summon 3 missiles that pass through the target and leap to 2 additional targets each. That's not too bad. It's potentially a lot of damage. Do like the sound of that one. Noxious Burst spews forth a poisonous cloud of foulness that corrodes, that causes corrode damage and leaves victims sickened. It's an AoE effect, but not against enemies. I'm assuming that this one's just against enemies. Yeah, target and then foe jump target. Rygrin's repulsive visage. The caster's face becomes a nightmarish mask of rotting, insect-infested flesh and other images of unspeakable horror, compelling all targets, all nearby foe to become terrified and sickened. It sounds delightful. Lengraf's displaced image causes the caster to appear causes the caster to appear visually displaced, increasing their deflection and reflex for the duration. Additionally, many deflection and reflex attacks that score hits will be converted to grazes. Half of the hits are converted to the grazes, only on deflection and reflex only. Deflection and reflex is up by 25 and 20 respectively for about a minute. Kalakov's Minor Blight creates a ball of energy in the caster's hand that can be thrown at an enemy, causing burn, freeze, corrode, or shock damage to anyone caught in the area of effect. Blights are continually replenished until the spell ends. For 78 seconds until... This is... useless. It tells me nothing about what these blights do in terms of damage. It could be like 1 point of damage, but yay, it's great because it's burn, it's freeze, it's corrode, it's shock. It's probably not going to be 1 damage, but it's not likely to be 100 points of damage either. So I don't know where it sits on the grand scale of how dangerous that is. Exposed vulnerabilities bears the enemy's combat vulnerabilities for all to see, reducing their damage reduction, deflection, and concentration. -5 damage reduction, -10 deflection, -10 concentration for 26 seconds. Might be useful. And deleterious alchemy of motion. Caster draws upon his or her life force to gain an increase of speed and movement while draining his or her own endurance. Okay, that's kind of cool in a way. Not very useful for me because I'm not likely to be running around very much. Crackling bolt. Caster becomes a living generator for a powerful bolt of electricity that streaks out in a straight line and bounces off walls, harming anything caught in its path. Again, not great because it's... I always find spells like this to be terribly, terribly dangerous. I just remember the number of times in Baldur's Gate where it's like lightning bolt and you fire it off, it bounces off the wall, comes right back out and you back at you and dead. Conceal Haunt's draining touch, and the caster's hand becomes a toxic parasite, causing corrosive damage to the target, weakening it and converting its life force to the caster as endurance. Not bad. Not... Don't like the fact that you gotta reach up and touch somebody, but it's an option. Arduous delay of motion alters the perception of time within the enemies in the area of effect, lowering their speed and movement. -30% attack speed, -2 move speed for 19.5 seconds, accuracy +10 versus will. Maybe. Arcane Dampener creates a nullifying field of antagonistic magical energy around a chosen point, suppressing all beneficial effects on the enemy in the area of effect. Foe AoE's down. Will be suspended for 19.5 seconds. I'm gonna go with the motion. I do like a good slow spell on these bounding missiles. They sound like fun. Alright, there we go. My wire is trapped around the armor of my chair and it's annoying me because I keep trying to straighten up and then it stops. Hey, Retro Ted, how goes it? Oh, Jesus, that's a big map. We have just entered. So, Defiance Bay is this 5 points of interest town. And this is one map of that 5 points of interest. So, we're going to rob the place and we're going to take it to everybody who has a name.
The whole city?
What was that? Those walls surround the whole city. Okay. Row 1, protesters, justicars. I really want to speak to that guy. He sounds like a troublemaker. Well done for making it to Defiance Bay. Thank you. It's only taken me 5 sessions. I think that's the end of Act 1. Alright, he's the only person of interest on this side, and I did say that I'd talk to everybody with a name.
How do you do?
Please tell me that wasn't this guy. Rowan's arms are crossed, and his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathering protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New to town, eh? You've picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding the legacies no better here. It's the Animancers. Magran scorch 'em, and they nest in the city like rats. You mark my words, though. Those dozens are gonna put a stop to it. Tell me about the dozens. He taps his chest. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of Animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like the militia, the dozens, except for the training and the discipline and the code of honor. His eyes gleam. And we're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better the state of the country. You have any interest in hearing more? Stop by Admeth's Den sometime. The expedition's hall. A lot of free thinkers in there. Can set straight all the nonsense the nobles and the Animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work for motivated types. See, I don't know, it's one of them where it's like, I don't know where I land on this kind of thing. It's I don't, to a certain degree, aristocracy is not a great thing, but at the same token, that's in the real world. Not sure how it applies in this game. As well as, aristocracy is kind of depends on if you're one of them or if you're not. Whether you think that it's a good thing or not. And I have no idea where I fit into this, and then it's like, and we're the dozens. They sound like a thug group. I'm joining a gang here against Animancers. I don't know if I've got something against the Animancers and the aristocracy. Maybe we've got a problem with the aristocracy, maybe I don't. I don't know. I'm not getting enough information here, I feel. What are you doing out here? He gestures at the crowd, each buzzing with angry chatter, trying to get the folks to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis, and instead of purging the nefarious forces of our city, the Dilk is granting Animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about Animancy? It is the study and manipulation of essence, which any sane person will tell you is the purview of the gods. The Adrians at least had the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic, chanting, or the reading of souls those ciphers do. I've been around since ancient... It's been around since ancient Ingwithan times, which is why you'll see animancers tinkering in old Ingwithan artifacts, with old Ingwithan artifacts. So that might be a bad thing. Kana raises a fist and to cough discreetly into. Half-truths, all. He's a bit enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. He shakes his head. Trouble is, the Animancer's got no idea what half those artifacts actually do, not that they'll admit it. Our emphatic friend is correct about one thing, at least. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. This is the capital of the Three Palatine of Direwood. We started out as a capital of the Adrian colony, but we booted the Flaccid Scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all over the world. But we, some of us anyway, strive to hold on to the pioneering spirit that dawned us our freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts: Copper Lanes, First Fires, Odra's Gifts, Brackenbury and Heritage Hill. He ticks each off on a calloused finger. Tell me about Copper Lane. This here is the Copper Lane. He taps a scuffed boot on the cobblestones. It's primarily a market district, but you've also got the expedition hall directly north of here, where you can join treks into the wilds. It's also where my fellow dozen martyrs and I tend... See, calling yourself martyrs also doesn't grant me any favors. It's like, I appreciate martyr and martyrdom for what it is. It's a catalyst that sparks a fire of revolution against the tyrants. Fine. But to go around and call yourself a martyr, that's just... no. That's also where my fellow dozen martyrs and I tend to meet up with other concerned citizens. He points to a long domed building west and north of your position. And that's a hall of the revealed mysteries. Eerie place, you ask me, but they've got the biggest library in the Direwood. Kana laughs. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kith stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Kashra and see what mysteries are revealed. Tell me about Brackenbury. A noise of disgust rattles in his throat. The nobility that didn't sail back to the Erdra stayed there. Most of the families there trace their lineage back to old imperial times. Other than a lot of has-been nobility, you've got Hadret House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and the Brackenbury Sanitarium, the main cesspit of animancy in the city. He spits on the cobblestones. Tell me about the First Fires. That's where the revolution started, hence the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and pandrers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you'll find the Ducal Palace, the Valian Embassy, and the Crucible Keep. He shakes his head. The Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, and now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and their heads up their arses. There's an old temple of Wodika there, too. We keep it real nice for her. He winks. As in, you don't keep it nice for her? Is that the way they like it? Or is that not the way they like it? I can't tell. Why are you winking at me? Tell me about Andra's gift. Got the name because it was a wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's a seedy district populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs, but it's a fun place too, if you know where to look. He winks and elbows you. Will you stop winking at me? I don't know what you mean by that. Look for a place called the Salty Mast when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly warehouses and abandoned homes. Tell me about Heritage Hill. He shivers. It used to be one of the most prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of Revolution claimed plots up there, next to the ancient Ingwithan Tower and the city cemetery. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts rich types these days. Lot of animancy patrons. He spits. He glances at the crowd and lowers his voice. You shouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple of months ago. The authorities sealed it off and they're keeping their mouths shut. But mark my words, Animancy's to blame. Let's talk about something else. Farewell. The calm waters smell faintly of refuge. The Goose and the Fox. There's so many places to go around. Alright, let's enter buildings as we come to them, rather than going back around to find the buildings later. So many people. The Stelga's pelt is thick with dust and moths. The plaque below the beasts reads Maiden Falls 2682. Rory Niguin. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a half-consumed ale slosh its way across the distance to his mouth, spilling across the stains of food long past. Glazed eyes glance at the brawl across the room, gaining fever as the fight extends through the room. Another ale, he murmurs to the bartender, downing his drink and turning towards the wall. He pulls a picture from his pocket, a painting of a young child. All brown hair and green eyes, and holds it above a candle. It does not burn. Eons later he begins to sing. The bar is a mess of broken chairs and wounded pride, and they all listen for a moment before continuing their drinks. Theft Conversations. SVEF. Anybody know what that means? His ache is felt throughout the room. His sad story reminds them of their sad stories. When he finishes singing, a silence hangs in the air, palatable among the smoke and the sweat and the yeasty smell of beer-infused exhalation. He is the first to break the silence, ordering a round of ale for the room. A general din of conversation sparks and resumes, but the mirth is now tempered with far-off memories and thoughts. Welcome to the Goose and Feather. Yeah, great stuff. It's just people to talk to. Lots of people.
Well met, friend. Hello. Welcome. Good day to you.
No, I don't think it is. I thought I knew the VA for that. Or recognize the VA for that. I don't think it is. It might be... I've forgotten his name now. Liam? Might be Liam O'Brien? Maybe. They would presume that Seth is some sort of pipe smoking or food of some kind. based on context. Yeah, I was more wondering if it's worth googling, because it's like it could have been food, but it didn't. You know, why call it Thev if it's food or tobacco or something else that you smoke? You know, why not say smoking Thev or eating Thev? You know, just to give it a little bit more context so that you didn't have to look it up. Just one of them. The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an Iron Man. A handle protrudes, some kind of leaf-based drug. Okay. The handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink. There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns to it in one broad hand, but doesn't drink from it. Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Birath. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts, and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How do you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. It started with the Hollowbone, and with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills up the pewter cup. It was my sister's, son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Wydwin's legacy, he was one of the first. I never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Every year, more parents are grieving for their hollow-born children, and the gods were silent. So you lost your faith? He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Barath promises rebirth, cycles, but the only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another. And another until you couldn't remember how to get home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before, I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone, so I came here. Okay, from Google, Seth is the other name for a potent narcotic produced from the berries of small shrubs that grows in the dry, distant mountains of Talknees. So it's a made-up word, or it might be a made-up word for a narcotic in the game. See, that it's one of them things where it's like, it's all fine and well that they introduce these things, but they need to provide some degree of context. Maybe I've just not come across the context, but yeah. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I've found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I just stopped asking questions. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of Drywoden independence by a travelling scholar named Irol of Levy. He wanted a place where kith of all backgrounds could gather and hash out issues facing their new country. He'd rest his elbows on the polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Direwodens have never been known to turn down an argument. He takes a sip from the tiny cup. I mean, it's a very broad statement to say that it's weed. I mean, I'm trying to think, is there actually any other narcotics apart from tobacco that we have? I say we in the broadest sense of terms. What happened next? Soon kith were coming from the farms and settlements too. He waves at the door as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular with the Valian sailors than the Salty Mist, and that was a problem. He drains the cup. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Hill found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane, and when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. He shrugs, spreading his hands over the bar as he surveys the room, but Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town, head out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. He cracks a wry grin. If only he could see it now. I'll order some refreshments. Oh yes, I want to order the yellow Labrador. Oh yeah, that's the screen where you can retrain. Party management, I can dismiss. I'm bringing back. Dismiss. I'm bringing back. Rooms, we got a merchant stay. We got 4 rooms here. Merchant stay, perception plus resolve for 2 rests. Vixen's Burrow for 2 rests plus 2 dexterity plus 1 survival plus 10 defense when disengaging. Suit of Worldly Wonders plus 1 intellect plus 2 lore. And there's Fletcher's Stay. 1 athletics, 1 mechanics, and 5 ranged accuracy. Not bad. Don't really need a room right now. Mushrooms, PCP, LSD, ecstasy, weed, heroin, cocaine, and that's just off the top of your head. Yeah, but how many of them are smoked? Because mushrooms, ecstasy is swallowed. LSD is contact-based. PCP I don't know about. Weed is smoked. Heroin and cocaine... Or heroin is injected. Cocaine is inhaled. So only weed is smoked. I don't know how you take opium, but I'm going to guess ingested. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a fire burning slowly on the side of the winding road, unmanned. There seems to be no fuel, no wood or oil for it to consume, no hay or twigs. Despite this, it roars, crackles, wails in the wind. It takes you a moment, but you begin to notice a figure in the flames. Its shaking hands cradle a young face, molten red tears marring skin the color of coal. The boy cowers, flames coating him as he holds his knees to his chest. In the distance, a man approaches, faceless. He extends a hand to the frightened child, who considers it warily before taking it. The flames die down, leaving his limbs and settling on his head like obedient pets. All tears dried, they walk together, fire and death, hand in hand. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. You see a wizard playing illusions in a town square, finger-plucking colour and sound from the air and weaving scenes of beauty and fright. A crowd of onlookers gasp and cheer, enthralled with the display. All but one boy. Standing off to the side, mouth agape, green eyes are pale with wonder, vision after vision playing out before him, and something inside the boy clicks. Without warning, he bolts, disappearing into the crowd, pushing and shoving desperately. The mage finishes his show soon after. A giant silver dragon descending through the crowd, through the crowd, and 1,000 stars exploding into nothingness. Collecting coins, he walks around the clapping crowd, bowing and nodding at each as he passes, until a small sack is dropped into his hands. The boy stands for a moment before him, small and still, and begs the wizard to apprentice him. He glances at the hefty bag, weighing it, and the boy, carefully. Finally he nods and flicks gently at the bag, which disappears. The boy grins. "How do you do that?" he asks, but the illusionist merely winks. Oh, shoulders are stiff. Oh. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. Did I already do this one? I might have already done this one. I did already do that one. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a hand, curled and bruised, staked on the floor with a bent metal spike. Blood covers the floor and drips from the furnishings and walls. This man looks up from the blood of the body he is crouched over to survey the carnage he calls to the family in whose house he now skulks. 4 bodies total. A woman, 2 young men, and a girl lie blindfolded on the ground. Their legs are bound and both hands are attached to the floor with spikes. He lifts the woman's blindfold and is currently doing something to her eyes. He pulls back a small blade and covers the eyes again, gently patting the blindfold. He stands and looks around, seemingly satisfied with his handiwork. Suddenly his breath quickens, hearing someone approach the door to the room. He bounces in place, excitement almost overwhelming him, then rushes to the back of the room, concealing himself in the shadows. From his vantage, he sees the bodies are perfectly arranged, each one facing the door, welcoming the man of the house home, arms outstretched as if in embrace. The door opens as he slowly pulls another spike from his belt, the tip of his tongue playing across his teeth in anticipation. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in this man's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. You see an impressive gathering of wild Orleans in ceremonial dress, shaded by a copse of ancient trees. Underneath the largest oak stands 2 young Orleans, hands clasped, eyes clear as they promise to care for and love one another in the joining of their clans. An older Orleans steps towards them to speak, beard seeming to sprout from directly underneath his eyes, and declares the union complete. The jubilant Orlan clans carry the newly wedded couple away to their tent with snorts of laughter and crude jokes, leaving the older Orlan to sit alone beneath the age-old oak. He sighs, observing the scene from a distance. He whispers a quiet benediction, glad for their gladness, and melts into the trees without another word. He's seen enough happiness for one day. Are you gonna say something of interest? Are you a named person? Oh, you do have a name. The dragon is outlined in charcoal pencil. Thick, jagged lines and the faint smell of sulfur suggest that the artist completed this sketch in a hurry. Cliff Dragon, White March, 2685. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. What are you doing here? She takes a long drink from her glass. Just trying to calm down and trying to talk myself out of doing something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave, but at last, Kenra looks up at you. The lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give my fiancé, Prunsnick. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Who hit you? She shakes her head. I know this, how this looks, and if you don't, but you don't understand. It's not like Prunsnick. It's these new friends of his. They've brought out the worst in him. Tell me about these new friends. They come over to our house with their dead eyes and black teeth. I'm not a fool. I know what that means. Prunsnick makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Seth changes you, I guess. The Prunsnick I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, still feeling a swollen, discoloured flesh. I thought Seth just made people lie around doing not much. Kenra shrugs. I don't really know. Seems better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could go talk to him? Her hands rest on the table and she clenches it into a white knuckle fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give him this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what'll happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to a bruise. I'll take this ring to Prunsnick then. She looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here. Just please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. No, that's robbing. That's locked. And robbing. I'm not robbing these people. Brad Ferris. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a mud-soaked clearing, rain falling to the ground in large drops. This man is lying on his back in the muck. His hands hold open a more of an enormous stelagar that stands over him, its front paws on his chest. The heavy rain falls over them, playing counterpoint to the grunts made by the opponents. Dead Stalinger litter the ground around them, and the man's body shows signs of a difficult battle. His clothing is torn, hanging in scraps in some places. Bites and scratches cover the arms and legs. A huge gash cuts across his forehead, blood and water mixing as they run down his face and drip into the mud. It takes all the man's effort to keep the beast's jaws from clamping down. The man looks around wildly until his gaze finally lands on a large axe lying barely within arm's reach behind his head, the rain slowly covering it with grime and muddy water. He looks at the Stelgar and then back at his axe. Grim determination on his face. His arms are shaking, but it seems he will not be able to hold onto the beast's back for much longer. He takes a deep breath and wraps his right hand around the Stelgar's bottom jaw, then lets go with his left hand, freeing the top of its head. The Stelgar's mouth snaps shut on his right hand as his left shoots out above his head and grabs the handle of his axe. The Stelgar grinds its teeth and pulls back, trying to free itself from his grip, blood dropping from its mouth onto his face. With a grunt, With a grunt that quickly becomes a bellow of pain, the man pulls his right hand down, bringing the beast's head closer to him, swinging the axe around as he does. The blade of the weapon pierces the Stelgar's neck and it yelps, its mouth popping open as it tries to step back off the man. Before his mangled hand can lose grip, the man pulls and twists as hard as he can, trying to get the beast on the ground, using the Stelgar's resistance to pull himself into a sitting position. He brings the axe down on its neck again, and one final time as his head and his hands simultaneously come free. The head flies from his grip as he thrusts his hand behind his back to brace himself as he falls. As his hand hits the ground, the full weight lands. A second bellow of pain erupts from his mouth. Breathing heavily, he brings his now mangled hand up to assess the damage. The little finger is gone, lost somewhere in the mud. The two fingers next to it are twisted, broken and torn, barely attached to his hand by small bits of flesh. He sighs, grabbing both dangling fingers with his left hand. He grits his teeth and pulls. It's a bit grim. The painting depicts Glenfartham ruins, and the canvas bears the rough brushstrokes of a talented armature. Abril's Wall. Well, 2665. A dwarf and an Orlean debate philosophy on the other side of the curtain. Hoo-hoo. We got 60 XP from walking up the stairs, and that gave Kana enough XP to level up. Great stuff. Love it. Not sure if I'm going to stick with having 2 chances in the group when I've actually got enough options. It's nice having 6 skeletons to be able to pop out, but at the same token it feels a little bit redundant having both of them here in the group. Would feel better if I had another character in the mix. I'm kind of curious about the ciphers, but I don't know if there is one at all. Scattered amongst such titles are Flora of the Living Lands, Unity and Disunity, a history of the Deadfire Archipelago, and the treaties of the Crackling people are a half-dozen travel journals held together with twine. I thought you said 2 chances rather than 2 chances. Chances. Chancellors. Autocorrect. No, 2 chances. Oh, somebody who actually speaks. Two-tone Wexel? An Orlean man reflexes on his feet. Relax. Oh, God. I'm tired. A lot of reading right now. An Orlan man relaxes with his feet propped on the table. Patches of dark brown skin peek out from under the full mane of blue-green hair. He and the Orlan woman with him engage laughs and comments with the trio in the nearby table, and he spins a dagger in his hand. His hazel eyes watch you. You look like you've seen a night or 2 in the wilds. Join us for a drink. Who are you? My name's Two-Tone Wexel. The lady next to me is Key. We've had our fun with the expeditions, but we're hoping to enjoy a little peace and quiet. For the next few weeks, anyway. I did get fed up with all the reading in this, especially when it's not relevant. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reading in this. I'm going to try my best to get through a lot of it all, because to a certain degree, I am chances are, like Pathfinder Kingmaker, I'm probably never going to replay this, and the writing is fairly well done, I feel. It's just, there's a lot of it. A man on the next table nods at you. I'm Dreadshot Daeldon, and this is Hurley and Ilfa. We are part of a separate expedition teams, but we both suffered losses and decided to band together. He ticks several items on his fingers. Beasts, barbarians, bivouacs. It's a dangerous time to be an adventurer, but a prosperous one too. At the next table, Daedon raises his glass. And here's to many more prosperous journeys. Is there something else you wanted? Leave. This is probably related to a quest somewhere. I'm assuming, yeah, they're all just gonna be half mute. Old Valian, the Southern Coast, 2670 AI. As you near, you feel vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past call out to you. I wish that... I do believe there has actually been one furrowed brow so far. But this is the part that's going to annoy me with the number of times that it's repeating. It would be nice if they just changed it up every now and again. Or had more than one throwaway line for these things that just appeared randomly. You see a man standing on a dock. Sailors, soldiers, and prostitutes swarm around him, but he's watching the ship disappearing over the horizon. He should be glad his men didn't take his life along with his ship. But failure is almost as bad as death for Valian. And the god only knows what... he hadn't fared, and gods only know he hadn't fared any better than his family's mercantile business. It's almost a relief as to see that last herald of his failure sail into the distance, sparing him the need to go back to his father and admit defeat once again. Besides, with sharp whips and an eye for opportunity, there's always a chance for a comeback. He pulls a flask from his hip and takes a long drink. There will be time for that later. He adjusts the flap of his eye patch and finds the tower of the brothel. He plots a new course for an evening with a grin on his face. As you near, you feel the vibrant blah 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 woman soul voices. You see a group of people standing on a clear patch of earth surrounded by several motionless bodies. On the ground in the middle of the group is a small figure, curled up to protect itself from the kicking feet of the people standing around it. This woman is there, apart from the group, holding an enormous sword. She leans on it, using it almost like a crutch, hunched over and breathing heavily. She stares at the people and grunts, pulling herself upright and lifting the sword from the ground. She draws in a large breath, leans into a run, and quickly closes the distance between herself and the group. A blood-chilling howl suddenly explodes from her. The mob freezes mid-kick and stares at the terrifying bull of a woman now charging it. She jumps at the last second, bending slightly, turning herself into a projectile flying into the middle of the people assaulting the figure on the ground. Everyone topples as she flies into them. She hits the ground beyond them, rolling and leaping back up, and turns to face them. She plants both of her feet and lifts her sword, surveying the field. Suddenly she spins on her heels, swinging her sword with savage grace, cutting down the nearest of the assailants. Letting herself get pulled into the momentum of the spin, she brings the sword around, blade sideways into the head of a would-be opponent. The bottom of the hilt shatters his temple, and he crumples to the ground at her feet. She looks up, rage-filled eyes, daring the remaining two men to approach. After a quick sideways glance at each other, they turn heel and run. One briefly looks back over his shoulder, ensuring she isn't following him. She slowly lets out a breath as she had been holding, and walks over to help the figure still huddled on the ground. That's stealing. Anything else? No, nope. Have I done this room?
I can get it to spill its secrets. It's done.
Yoink. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from the past seem to call out to you. I thought that was a lot longer than it was, and oh my word. That scroll bar is deceptive. It seems to be all the way up there, but it's actually not all that long. I was gonna cry if that was just gonna keep going on and on. You see a grin slide across the face of a man and onto the face of a woman, younger still than he. She moves closer in the tallow lights, sure and slow, tasting the anticipation of his tongue and desire on hers. The desire on hers. The candles gutter, sending yellow-brown light sneaking across his multifaceted eyes. She sits back, now all too aware of his luminescent horns and dust-stamped blue skin. His otherness leaves her breathless, but from fascination or horror you cannot tell. He reaches across, trailing the line of her jaw, sibilant whispers snaking through the air, tempting, cajoling. Something in her breaks, and the grin slides back as he extends his tongue to lick the curve of her throat, pausing a hair's breadth from her flesh. The thing we spoke of, your husband. I shouldn't. He'd be ruined. A faint protest. The man wags his forefinger at her, tisking playfully, tracing a line with a finger down the length of her torso, causing her to writhe. He stops just short. She gasps. No fair, that's cheating, she pouts childlike. Not if we make the rules. The man winks and resumes his stroke. It's not even 9 o'clock. Are you referring to the watershed, Retro Ted? As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from the past call out to you. You see a firm hand scribbling notes from an ancient, surprisingly sturdy-looking tome. Script precise, a small pictures booklet. The monk runs his fingers across the paper lightly, page after page, searching for something. The script is ancient, almost illegible, but he preserves, scrawling stacks and sheaves of notes, transcribing the book into something more comprehensible. Suddenly he starts scribbling hastily, eyes wide, pen a blur across a newly inked splattered page. With a start, he pushes out from the desk and closes the tome, sending waves of dust to coast around the room, and grinned wildly. He hurries to the exit, notes piled under his arm, a new adventure on his mind. As you near, you feel the vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a man praying soundlessly on the ground, lips moving to some ancient and unknowable hymn. Lying in his hands, his sword splutters into blinding white light, banishing the darkness around him instantly to lurk in the corners and shelves. He opens his eyes slowly, continuing his silent prayer as he adjusts to the new light, his face tight with concentration. He stands and begins to move deliberately towards an enormous iron door, strange symbols inscribed onto its rusted surface. His prayers get louder, gain substance as he gets closer. Blue eyes burn with fever as the glowing tip of the sword touches the center of a door and slides through. White light spreads across its surface, symbols flaring into life as a paladin chants. A gentle tone sounds, ringing through the ancient structure, and the door begins to open. The symbols have disappeared, along with the rust, and the paladin steps into a place unknown, bearing a light, and he is now only... Blah. The paladin steps through into places unknown, bearing a light he is only now beginning to understand. The pages of these books are crisp and fragrant with salt of the sea breeze. Oh my god. Scene. Liana watches Burnt approach father's tree, looking for her human form. Layla, behold, now comes the fun, for which I have waited. His love is forfeit, her life is forfeit, and all I have worked towards shall be fulfilled. He says he knows his love. He says no force in the world could keep him from her. But what chance has force against guile? Never will he find his love, for she is no longer his love, and this spell cannot be undone except by her death. And by then it will be too late. But wait, he has seen her. Leela steps back to observe. Favia, pray mortal, why have you come here? These woods are not for your kind. The affairs of men have no place in this tree. At this tree, leave here while your welcome lapses. Bernat, foul creature, where is my love? What have you done with her? Always it has been the station of our encounters. Never before have I seen you. Where is my love? Answer me. Answer ere my patient lapses. Favia, fool, this is my land and this is my tree. Your presence never before has been felt. Again I say to you, leave. My generosity will not be extended a third time. Leah steps forward again. Leah, talk, discussion. I know the way to hurry the conclusion of this tale. Leah takes a breath and extends her throat, as if yelling. A scream comes from the copse of trees where the Puegra stands. Bernat, my love. Bernat steps forward, brandishing his sword. Bernat, prepare yourself, wench. Not even death can stand between me and my love. I will have her from you, or you will meet your end. Bernat moves towards Favia, who closes to fight. They fight. During the fight, Bernat is grievously injured as he delivers a killing blow to Favia. She falls to the ground as she dies, the spell breaks, transforming her back to her Delamagan form. Favia, Bernat, my Bernat, my love, what have you done to me? What was it I said? What was it I did? Has our love soured in your heart? Favia, Bernat, Favia, my love, my life, what foul sorcery has befallen you? How have you come to be laid low by my hand? Fee to the gods for such treachery. Fee to all who stood in our way. Favia, fear not, my beloved, for now we are together, and together we will always be. Nothing can keep us apart. But lo, why is it suddenly so dark? Where has the sun gone? Where are you? I cannot see you. I will find you. I will. Favia dies. Bernat, a curse upon the fiend who has betrayed me. To hold my love in my hand and have it wrenched away. Banat winces and puts his hand to his shirt. It comes out covered in blood. Banat, what luck, what chance. Tragedy may yet turn to fortune. Thalia, my love, I will rest in your arms. Let us lie together as one, and forever shall we be side by side. I go now to meet my love. Barath, I accept your cold embrace. I welcome your company. I beg your mercy. Banat lies down next to Thalia's body. Banat, I am ready. Banat dies. Leah steps out from a hiding spot and runs to Banat's body. Leah, Banat, you fool, you wretch, how can you leave me? I am alone. I am forgotten. I am cast out. Without your love, how can I continue? Life holds no thrall without your visage upon which I gaze. What shall I do? But here, my salvation, my answer. Leah picks up Banat's sword. Leah, his blade, his weapon, I shall be impaled upon him, and he shall cut through me. I will not be denied my love. I will not be denied my love. You will be mine, if not in this life, then in the next. Leah impales herself on the sword. Leah, I come to you, my love, my Banat. Wait for me, and I will find you. We shall love forever. Leah dies. Oh my word. So much reading. Cheery old plays, ain't it? Yeah, they are. I think it's only slightly amusing when it's played by one person. How's a stronghold doing? 17 hours. Wow, that appears to be progressing in real time. Something unusual is happening at the house in Copper Lane. A man named Pusnik is acting strangely. Give Kenra's ring to Pusnik. Ah, there it is. Go off and deal with that. Let's actually complete a quest. Although there might have to be a lot of murder right now. Mercenary, addict, mercenary, addict, mercenary, Persnic, mercenary. The guard holds up his hand as you approach. You can turn right back around. The lower floor is all yours, but nobody goes upstairs. Why not? He scowls. Because you'll be breathing through new holes in your neck if you head up there, that's why. Just mind your own business. Once you're on the Seth, you're not going to care much where you are anyway. Fine, I'll be going. There might have to be some murders. There might have to be some bloodshed.
Hello.
You're far too cheerful for this. The man smiles you a toothy and rather unpleasant grin. Well now, a new face. Welcome, friend. Name's Pertinic. And this, he gestures to the room around you, is my humble abode and place of business. I do hope you're here to do some business. He glances at a nearby guard. Seems like a lot of guards for one man. You must be popular. Pertinic raises a brow. Sure, right, very perspective. This business attracts some less pleasant types. Sometimes the clientele get a little pushy, and every so often someone even turns out to be snooping into things they shouldn't, and lessons have to be taught. His face shivers with a quick, unreadable emotion. I'm sure you're too smart to get wrapped up in all of that, of course. I'll keep it simple. If you have coin, I have Seth. You're free to make use of the premises so long as you don't do anything stupid and you don't get too tangled with other customers. Now, what can I get you? What is Seth? You serious? Pertinic eyes you with suspicion, then disbelief. Seth's worth every pound, my friend. It's incredible. Lets you see your own soul. And you're looking at Defiance Bay's first and foremost Seth merchant. Let me have a look what you got in stock. Plus 15 attack speed for 600 seconds, plus 0.5 move speed for 600 seconds, -4 resolve for 600 seconds, and Seth crash after 600 seconds. Removes Seth crash. So it's just a whole load of drugs. I've not given the ring. The house next to the Copper Market Lane market has become Seth then. Pertinic was home, but something about this man seems unusual. I'm going upstairs. I told you to keep clear. I was gonna bribe that guy. Guess that's not gonna happen now. Terrible things are occurring. We need to form up a fighting line. And terrible things are still occurring. I would like you to run into the back. Just keep going. For the love of everything that is holy and unholy, move! Skeletons, go! More skeletons, go! Murder, make it happen! You, switch back to a bow, because you shouldn't really be in the front lines like that. Where's my kaboom? I was expecting a kaboom. That was a terrible kaboom. Really? What was it? 3 points of damage on my kaboom? Useless bleeding fireballs. More skeletons! More skeletons! Where is all this fire coming from? Because I'm pretty sure it's not my fault. Burning missiles, go for it. Stop! Nurid staggers back, holding a bloody hand in front of him. I give up. Just leave and I'll go peacefully, alright? It's too late. Isn't really much of an option there. Right, has things... What's still exploding? Okay. Could you step away from that guy and let the skeletons take care of the mercenary?
Leave it to me.
Everybody, finish off that guy. The Mook's got the real-time surprise round. No earth-shattering kaboom. 0 out of 10 would not planet explode with a gain. We got another grimoire. We got a whole load of junk. Dagger, mace, sword, wand, medium round shield, fine robe. Breastplate, breastplate, blah 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 blah. Nobody cares. Well, that's not everything. There's even some more junk over there. Stealing your fruit and veg. We're going upstairs. I have a feeling that we're going to find the husband tied up upstairs. Somewhere.
Alright then.
I know. More bad guys. Could really do with you spreading out a little.
Let's have it out.
Yes?
Lava.
Might have been a bit of a mistake.
Yes.
I shall deal.
Ta-da! More murder! Ooh. We got a fine flail. We got a fine spear. And we got a fine small shield. Now that I won't really want to use any of those weapons. Shoot. I did have to find another book. House Domenel. What can be said about House Domenel that isn't whispered fearfully in the back room over a dim light of a dying fire, and the fear of the wrong set of ears will hear it. The bloody Domenel history is colourful and violent, exciting and more than a little bit bloody. The Domenels were a small Adrian family that dealt almost exclusively. Oh my word, my brain is turning off. The Domenels were a small Adrian family that dealt almost exclusively in textiles. They made a modest living, slowly gaining reputation for having high-quality product. This reputation earned them connections, business, social, and sometimes material, that solidified their positions as the premier family of the region. If you wanted to access to someone, the Dominels were the way to go. Were the way to do it. Soon, every city had a business that owned, or at least in part, by the Dominels. Their power and influence grew until many said that the family had more power than even the Furkonig of Adria. But with the power came the corruption. One cannot have a level of control and expect to keep it through strictly legal means. Soon, rumours were spreading of threats and extortion. Though it cannot be proven, the unofficial report is that Dominels were responsible for the death of Tyrindig Brynwigger, which left his entire shipping empire in the hands of his wife, Odell Dominel Brynwig. With their hold on the land practically secured, the Dominels no longer stuck to the shadows, brazenly eliminating opponents, manipulating deals, and threatening anyone who might cause them a problem. Because they now dominated the trade route, no one dared oppose them anymore for fear their business would be strangled. Like most empires, though, not even theirs could last forever. The end came during the War of Defiance. Unlike most of the land, the Dominels threw in with Aedra instead of Ameth Hadret. After the defeat of the Empire and the destruction wrought on the lands during the war, not even the Dominels could rebuild what they had. And having history show them on the wrong side of the war, no one would touch the name. The domain that took years to build crumbled in mere months. Today, the Dominels have once again built a name for themselves, proving that they are still capable and savvy business people. Rumor about the family still circulate, though. Word is members of the family are striving to lift the family from its current obscurity and elevate it to the level of power it once held. This is going to be another book. Oh no, it's not another book. Yay! Not another book. Ooh, a rusty bronze key. You shall look after... Oh, I just went in there anyway. Ah, fine great sword, fine stiletto, and a bunch of coins.
Hey.
Peridot. It appears as though someone rummaged through this uneven row of books in a hurry.
Then.
The jars are chipped and cracked as if knocked to the ground and set back in place. Oh, a pronunciation guide. 5 sessions in and far too late. The sun does not set on the Adrian language. For those who commune with this proud language, or some derivation of it, populate every corner of the aura. Most of us who speak of the wonderful tongue know it as Adrian. But scholars and those obsessed with correctness often qualify it as modern or contemporary Adrian. This is to contrast the language you and I speak today with Eld Adria, the old elven language that is spoken in the Adrian Empire back before the pioneers settlers of the Dryerwood built their longships. If Eld Adra could be considered the mother of living Adrian, the language of Heilspeak could be considered Adria's cousin. Heilspeak is fading from common use, but many of the elves, especially the older ones, of the Adrian heartland still use this dialect. Whether you know it or not, you can read these words. If you can read these words, you can understand Heilspeak. It's almost identical to Adrian, but includes a larger vocabulary of archaic words that have fallen out of use in today's Adria. When you hear the bard sing of old Adrian poems, there are often lines of chorus that sound like melodic nonsense inserted to complete rhymes. These are usually instances of words that are lost in our common language but still used in Harlspeak. While Harlspeak is familiar to speakers of so-called modern Adrian, the same cannot be said for our language's predecessor. Old Adrian is a dead language, spoken by academics but not used in any major communities. All Adrian words are often familiar to Adrian readers, but the words use orthographic has since been abandoned. Unfamiliar accent marks abound. For example, El Adrian contains some diphthongs that have no place in modern Adrian, as well as a few tricky consonant clusters. EA creates a iya that sounds like the colloquial salutation heya. EO sounds like eya. This sound is still in use with the modern word eora. Eora. I is pronounced E-I-E, such as wraith. Such as in wraith. There's no E-Y in wraith, so how is it pronounced in eighth? Eighth? Life? My grasp of language is falling through my fingers like sand. UE and U to umlaut. Both create long oo sounds as in loop. Y sounds like E as in B. GJ sounds like the consonant Y as in U. Y. SC sounds like sh, so you pronounce it scope instead of shop. Oh, you pronounce shop. Shop. Like shop. Okay. Eighth. I Ray eighth. I think it's eighth. So EY is eighth, apparently. It is not uncommon for given names of Adrians, Dryawodians, and Regseras to come from Eld Adran. Some examples. Aldwin is pronounced Aldwin because of a long vowel sound on the Y. Durznik is pronounced Durznish. Dornish. Since the final SC cluster is like fish sound. Yester is pronounced Yester on account of the GJ consonant cluster. Sledge is pronounced sledge, like sledge. Thrish is pronounced thrish. Ushgrim is pronounced ushgrim, not ushgrim. Yigmar is pronounced Yigmar, leading with the vowel sound. Wreath should sound the same with what? Wreath should sound the same was Wraith. I think I'm losing my mind. I think I'm actually losing the ability to speak here. But anyway, we've got a bit of a pronunciation guide. I might keep hold of that one just in case there's some weird word that I can't pronounce and I want to do it right. Unlock the door and find the husband. Wah wah wah. Purnish. See if we learnt something from reading the book. Purnish. A man lies bound and bloodied on the floor before you. His face is a tapestry of bruises, and blood is spattered across several corners of the room. The man cringes and sobs as you approach. Gods, please, no more. Please, I can't take any more. I'm not here to hurt you. The man pauses, gazing up at you. You're not? Oh, praise Birath. You're not one of his men, are you? He glances nervously behind you. He shakes his head. Please, I don't know who you are, but the name's Purnish. This is my house. You have to help me. Then who was downstairs? An imposter. Some wizard named Nerid came into my house, tied me up in here, tortured me. And now he and his men are eating my food, breaking my things, selling Seth. Inside my house, he blinks. Whatever you're holding back, spit it out or I'll pry it out of you. Punish looks away, unable to meet your gaze. I may have hung on to a tiny portion of my supplier's share, but I needed the money. What exactly happened? He sent over the wizard Nidrid, the man downstairs, and Punish shudders, to make up for the lost copper, I guess, and to hurt me while he was at it. It feels like it's been days. Why should I help you? Punish looks crestfallen. Because it's the right thing to do. Okay, I look. Nerid took all of my money, but if he still has it, if you kill him, he's bound to have most of it on his person. You can have all of it. He's already taken care of. Punish stares at you. I can't believe this nightmare is finally over. He grins weakly. Then seems to remember something. You've no idea what you've done for me, but... He looks at you and looks away. I need to find my love, Karenra. Only after whatever Nerid put her through. I'm afraid she won't give me a chance to explain. But she might listen to you. Please, she must be somewhere in Copper Lane. It's the only home she's known. And please, don't tell her about the Seth, or about what I do. I will make it worth your while. A discount, maybe? Perhaps you should trust her to make her own decisions rather than lie to her? I know, and I can't force you to keep the secret. I just don't want to lose her. After what happened, I'm sure she won't have anything to do with Seth. I'm sure she won't want to have anything to do with Seth or me if she finds out. Don't push your luck, Punish. No, of course not. You've done more than enough. Thank you, friend. I'll be here if you need anything at all. You left blood on the floor. Someone has gathered sheets and towels into a makeshift bed, and the rumpled fabric is stiff with blood and unwashed sweat. Grief should sound the same as wraith. Wraith. Okay. Still stealing? It's still stealing. Seems to have murdered a couple of people on his way out. Let's go see if his wife will say anything to me. I'm just curious because I told him that I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to lie for him. That was the main thing. I just want to nip back there and then we'll call the stream done. Oh, I need to talk to him at some point. Oh, and level him up. Oh god, so much to do. We'll do that. Stop the next stream.
Fire and light would be very convincing.
Funny thing about Deerwoodans. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Yeah, we were having a proper discussion. Eddie, you said you fought on the Saints' War, but for which side? The one that blew up my god? I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light could be very convincing. Funny thing about Drywoodens, with all that fire and light, they treated him like he was just another authoritative figure. I do like it when NPCs interact. I think I mentioned that quite a bit when playing Pathfinder Kingmaker. Nope, the wife is gone. So you can't even tell her the truth. Oh, we got another level. Oh, we got a level up of Sagni and Endurance. And we need to speak to Ada. But that shall wait for next time. This has been the end of session 6. The 6th session of Pathfinder Kingmaker. No. Pathfinder Kingmaker's finished. This is the 6th session of Pillars of Eternity. God, I'm tired. Many books later. Oh god, no, Pathfinder still, Kingmaker is still going. Yeah, no, that one did take it out. It's just one of them. It's a very similar-ish game. I've not yet found this one as long-winded. Hi, tired, I'm dad. Thank you, Magcat. We're only into like 6 sessions, and I don't know how long this game is going to be, if I'm entirely honest with you, so we'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully it's nowhere near the length of Pathfinder Kingmaker. But I do have the the White Marsh expansion for Pillars of Eternity, and I think it's streamlined into the narrative without having to be a separate place you go off to, so I'm probably going to end up doing that as part of playing the game, just naturally. So anyway, I will be back this Thursday with more Pillars of Eternity. There will be no stream on this channel, or probably not a stream on this channel on Friday, as I will be over with J-Station 64 Retro Tech Krifu Banal on the Ghost of Sonny, while we play some Tales of a Loop over on Manapot Studios. You can usually find us over on the people I've just mentioned over on Manapot Studios on Mondays. However, that is now on a 2-week break for the holidays. So that will be returning on the 3rd of January. A really good session where they were playing Defrex Boys, which is a space variant of Cowboys. So if you want to check that out, it's on the VODs. If not, it'll be on the YouTubes. So yeah, I'll be back Thursday. There's usually stream on Friday. Not this week. I'll be back over on Manapot Studios. However, on Mondays there's no stream over on Manapot Studios, so there's a reasonable chance. It depends on how I'm feeling. I might stream something, I might not stream anything. If I do stream anything, it's either going to be one-off games or it's going to be more Pillars of Eternity. Get some more of this in and done and out of the way before too long. I think that just about covers everything that I want to say. So we're just going to have a quick look to see if there's anybody that we want to raid this evening. You hear some audio. There we go. You shouldn't. Okay, we're gonna go raid Shanghai. As soon as I can be sure this isn't going to make a lot of noise. Thank you, it's not going to be making a lot of noise. Alright, give me that over there. Shanghai is playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It's their first playthrough, so if you're aware of it, no spoilers please. Until I hope you all join me for the raid. If not, thank you very much for hanging out, and I hope to see you all on Thursday. And until then, bye.